Hi, this is Dr. Geneva, and welcome once again. I just love talking to vibrant women about their secrets, about the things they do, about the tips and the strategies that they use to look good, feel good, love good, and do good. And so I wanted to bring you someone special today who is taking what I call taking her show on the road, taking what she believes is important for Black women to hear, to do, to listen to. She's taking that on the road and she's traveling all through Michigan. And I wanted you to meet her and find out some of the behind the scenes thinking and passion and purpose that she has for and about Black women. And so I'm talking about Demarra Gardner. Please say hello to her. How are you?
Hey, Dr. Geneva. Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor to be with you.
Thank you. And we're going to get into talking about the Be Well, Be Fabulous.
Yes, Be Well, Be Fabulous Black Woman Tour.
Yes, the Be Well, Be Fabulous Black Woman Tour. But I first want to get into the behind, what I call the behind the scene.
Yeah.
And so for me, the behind the scenes has to do with you and your purpose and vision in thinking that we as Black women need a tour that's going to talk about be well and be fabulous.
Yeah. So I want to start then by talking about an experience that I had recently. I was forest bathing, and a lot of people don't know what forest bathing is. And essentially, it involves keeping your clothes on. Let me say that.
Okay. What did you say? Horse? What did you say?
It's okay. Forest bathing is what it's called. It originates from Japan.
Okay.
And really it just involves like the full immersion in a natural area. And so they say forest because, a forest gives us the most
forest. Okay, like trees.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you was my mind was going in a lot of different places.
I understand.
It was supposed to be. Okay.
Yeah.
Proceed.
That's the place that many people's mind goes to, Dr. And so, I had this experience coming after our first tour stop and, just really felt called to go into this asylum area. And I spent a lot of time out there using forest bathing as a wellness practice for myself. As you know, I have a lot of wellness practices. And every time I go out there, I realize that I'm the only person of color, right, out here at the reserves. I run into people all the time that are walking their dogs and et cetera, et cetera. And we know, right, the diversity of Kalamazoo is not the diversity of Detroit. Okay. Yet and still, it's boggling to me that we're not out in nature more. And part of that, I think, has to do with us, one, not knowing the benefits of being out in nature, because nature is one of the things that helps to heal us more than just about anything that exists, right? I mean, they talk about the power of being in nature. Nature is connected to the creator, right? Sure. And, from fresh air to the chemicals that come off of the plants to any number of things. And so one of the things that I feel strongly about, and the reason why I bring up forest bathing is because I want Black women to understand that first and foremost, wellness is very accessible, right? And that wellness is connected in part to all the things that you talked about in your introduction. So how we look on the outside is a part of wellness, right? So getting our hair done, our nails done, dressing well, all of that are external things that make us feel good. But then we have these wellness practices that have to do more with creating space for ourselves to heal, to be more resilient, to be more optimal in the roles in which we play. And I believe that consistent wellness practices help us to get there, right? I think that it's connected to living a life rooted in vitality. And all the research shows this. So in Japan, we have the most centenarians that live there because, in part, the time that they spend in nature. the social connections that they have, the amount of time they spend playing and moving their bodies.
Okay.
And so for me, it's about getting back to the roots of us as Black people, knowing that many wellness practices that are far removed from a lot of our lives are a part of our indigenous history, right? And so, I grew up in a home where my mother was a part of the natural health movement long before it became popular. So she was making raw juice and growing wheatgrass, and she had a yoga practice, and she would go out to retreat centers. And so that was a part of how I was raised. We didn't really eat fried food. Now don't get me wrong, like I love fried food to this day. At this point in my life, I don't eat a lot of it, but I, indulge every now and then. But there's been a homegoing for me. I feel like as I've gotten older, going back to practices that were a big part of my life, and recognizing what those practices do for me when I embody them on a regular basis.
Okay.
And so
Demarra, let me just stop you there.
Yeah, please.
A ton of really good, juicy pieces, and I want to dissect some of that. First of all, you talk about, and you are coming to us from Kalamazoo, Michigan, so that's why there's the reference to Kalamazoo. You talk about wellness practices.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that's part of what you do professionally? Is it part of this homegoing, growing up? Tell us a little bit about the background of you and wellness practices.
Yeah. So on a professional level, I'm a licensed therapist. I am a certified professional coach. I'm trained in first degree Reiki. I have a yoga practice myself that I've had on and off for many, many years. I ride my bike periodically, right? Because I like to be in the great outdoors, and I walk on the trails. And but for years, outside of my consulting practice, which I've been operating for about 12 years, it was very separate from the clinical work that I did in this wellness side of my life. Okay. And Black Women About Business is really about intersecting those two worlds, because being well can mean a lot of different things at any given time, right? It may mean that we need a therapist. It may mean that we need a professional coach. It may mean that we need to spend more time outside with our feet grounded in the grass. It could mean any number of things based on what's calling us. Okay. But so yes, I would say that wellness is something that I have worked diligently to embody in my own life, and I'm still on the journey, right? So even though I've got all this knowledge about what it means to be well, I have a life that I'm living that sometimes, if I'm not intentional, interferes with my ability to practice wellness, right? And we call it a practice because it's about consistency.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you are trained professionally. You got all the degrees and the papers, and all that kind of stuff, as when we talk about wellness and yoga and all of those things, as well as you shared with us your upbringing. Now, you also mentioned Black Women About Business.
Yeah.
So, take us on that journey.
Absolutely.
What is that, and how did this come into this whole wellness scene?
Absolutely. So, being an entrepreneur for 12 years and finding myself having to learn a lot of things on my own, which is not out of the ordinary for many people that look like us. Okay. I don't come from a background of people in business, and I found that I was really on an island, and having to learn so many things on my own. And then coming across other Black women who shared that same sentiment, right? But then also coming across Black women who were really dynamic, but they weren't physically well, right? maybe they suffered from being overweight, or maybe there was some hypertension or tumors or any number of things. And these are women that are really seen as phenomenal within their own right because of the kind of work that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really got to thinking about what would it look like to create a space where we could get business, leadership, and wellness support, right? That mind, body, spirit connection in a space just created for us. Because the reality is that all of us need support. All of us have a universal need to be seen, to be heard, to be valued. And as much as sometimes we may pontificate about the fact that we don't care what people think, the reality is that all of us care on some level, and all of us have a need for human connection.
Yes.
And there's nothing like the connection of people that have a shared lived experience, right? And so, we know that identity is wide and it's deep. And just because, both of us may identify as Black women, it doesn't mean that we're the same, right? Because we have lots of things that make us who we are. But I do think that there is something really special about being in a space where we can just be who we are. Because there are very few spaces that exist like that, right? And now one thing I will tell you is that Detroit's been one of the few cities that I've been in where, like, culturally, you guys embrace that. But most parts of the country don't, right? I mean, there's a way that we're socialized in terms of how we show up, how we speak, our decision-making process, how we engage in the workplace. There's all these things that we have to contend with that may actually be counter culturally to who we are, right?
Okay.
And so we do those things because we have to survive, and we need to do that. And I also think there's something really healing about being in a space where we don't have to do all of that weathering, as my sister Lisa Smith talks about. As you know, she's on the tour with you on that main stage, that we have to do as Black women, right? Things that we have to consider that nobody else does.
Right. So Black women about business. Your concept is in the practice, but that you want to bring the wellness and the entrepreneurship together in a single space. Is that?
And leadership too. So, we certainly want to support Black women in launching and scaling their businesses. We want to support non-entrepreneurs and being the very best leaders that they can be.
Okay.
And a lot of that and how we do that is often rooted in wellness practices, right? So practicing empathy, for example, in the workplace, that's one of the ways that we're well, right? And we have deep connection with people that we're working to influence.
Okay, so what does that, so Demarra, what does that mean? Can you break that down for, so you said, because so you talked about empathy, so being empathic, being able to step outside of yourself and understand somebody else.
Absolutely.
And bringing that to the workplace. So that empathy is that wellness practice piece, and the workplace, of course, is the workplace. So what's the connection?
Well, part of it is that, in leadership, we are sometimes under the assumption that by virtue of having the title, people will follow us, right?
Okay.
So, I do a lot of leadership development work, and one of the things that I talk about is that you can have a compliant workforce. That doesn't mean that you got the best workforce, right?
Okay.
And having empathy and being vulnerable and showing people that we're human and we have flaws, and being open when we make mistakes, and collaborating around decisions when we can, and really being with people, and some of the things that may show up in the workplace, right? Those are the things that really create influence, and that's leading in an optimal way. And so, the work of Black Women About Business is, as you know, about helping to lay the foundation for wellness so that we can be optimal in business as well as in life.
I see.
And business for me is about being an entrepreneur, and it's also about being a leader. So whether you're a first-time executive director, or you are in the C-suite, or you're an entrepreneur, we want to be able to offer something for everyone, essentially, which is why we have our workshop tracks that are based on business leadership as well as
I
wellness.
see. Okay. And so it seems that basically what you're saying is that, to be the best leader,
Yeah.
to be successful as an entrepreneur in business, you really got to be well yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that we can get by the way we've always gotten by, and that's fine, right? So the question really is about, are you operating at your best? And if you're not operating at your best, what are ways that you can operate at your best? And we know that wellness, taking care of self, although we talk about it a lot, we don't necessarily practice it, because even if we have awareness about wellness look like, it may be a skewed perspective of wellness. So for example, as I shared earlier, right, as long as my hair is done and my makeup is right and my clothes are right, like I don't need to do anything else.
Right.
But that's external of self. The internal practices that are rooted in being well have to do with being mindful, creating space to just think and do nothing, which is the opposite of how we're socialized, particularly for Black women who are, all of us, we're rock stars, the kind of work that we do, like the board that we sit on, what we're creating in the world, there aren't many people that can touch it. And so the problem with that is that because we're wired the way that we are to create transformation wherever we can, and to comply with the norms of society that say that we have to work better, faster, harder. And so how do we embrace the reality while also pushing against that, so that we can create the kind of lives that we want in spite of what may exist in society, right? And so I find that I'm my most creative. I'm more patient. I can practice ahimsa, which is, the practice of nonviolence on self as well as others. Those are the times that I am my best, when I am filling my cup in a way that really honors me, honors the decisions that I'm making, and honors the time that I need to be able to take care of myself.
So with Black Women About Business, do you teach women, show women these techniques, help them learn these practices?
Yeah. And we do that a lot of different ways, as you know, Dr. Geneva. We do it by bringing people like you in to inspire women, right? I mean, your message is one that's really powerful, and we want that inspiration, of course, to translate into people taking action, right? Because inspiration is only as good as the action that we take based on how we've been inspired. And then when we're talking about at a deeper level in our workshops, whether it's figuring out what kind of legal things you need to keep in mind as an entrepreneur, right? We cover that. That's real tangible things that you walk away with. If you want to connect your head and heart in leadership, that's something that we train you on how to do. If you want to embody the things that the most successful social entrepreneurs in the world embody, that's rooted in research, we can teach you how to do that. If you need more information related to wellness and how to make wellness work for you in your situation, we can teach you that too. So again, we're really touching on women from all walks of life. As you know, we've got this multi-generational lineup of women. So no matter if you're a millennial, or if you're in any generation for that matter, we've got something to offer you, and regardless of the professional role that you play as well. Because again, wellness is the thread in all of it. So, from our vantage point, we feel like our message can be a useful one for women of all walks of life.
And you got a podcast too, right?
We do have a podcast, and Rolling Out just named our podcast after Black Enterprise. named our podcast one of the top for Black women to listen to in 2019. And so I just did a newsletter this morning. We do one a couple times a month. And one of the things I wrote about was that how we were equally honored to get this accolade from Rolling Out because we love Detroit so much. Detroit feels like a second home to me in many ways.
What was the Rolling Out acclaim? Now I know Black Enterprise.
Yeah. So Rolling Out
podcast,
yeah,
as one of the top podcasts to listen to in 2019, and Rolling Out did the same.
They did. So Black Enterprise did theirs based on a list of 20, and Rolling Out did theirs based on a list of 15. Yeah. So I just found that out.
20 and 15 what?
Podcasts. So like the top 15 podcasts that Black women must listen to. Top 20 Black women, should be subscribing to.
I see. Okay. Well, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thank you so much. I feel very blessed. It was unexpected. And, the lesson in that for me is that when we feel called to do something, we don't even have to be attached to any outcomes, right? Like, I think when we do good work in the world, there's magic that starts to happen, right? I didn't ask for anything like that. I wouldn't have expected it. And I'm truly grateful to have it, right?
Yeah. So tell me about the magic behind the tour.
Yes. Oh
Many of our viewers might not even, have a sense of what we mean when we say the tour. So, paint that picture for a viewer who's watching but has not a clue about what the tour is.
Absolutely. So the BWAB Fabulous Black Woman Tour is a 3-city tour across Michigan that is dedicated to giving you a one-day experience where you can connect with other Black women and get wellness, leadership, and business support. And so we've got amazing women on our lineup, including you, Dr. Geneva, which we're so blessed to have you. Really sharing their stories, right? Their life lessons, their nuggets of wisdom around these topics of wellness, business, and leadership to inspire women. So we've got Dr. Lynn Richardson. She's our opening speaker. She's a financial celebrity expert, MC Light's business partner, has had a regular appearance in the Steve Harvey Show. She just launched an international radio station in her hometown of Chicago. And she brings dynamic insight around the theme of yes, girl, yes, you deserve everything in life. And then multiple streams of income. And then following that, we've got some business leadership and wellness breakouts that, crosses over to a lot of different categories for launching and scaling your business, for, improving your leadership skills, the wellness pieces I talked about. And then after that, we've got you back on that main stage, Dr. Geneva, talking about, living a life rooted in vitality, right? And leadership across your lifespan, which is such a strong representation of how you've lived your life. And you're certainly extremely inspiring. When I read the 7 things that you did at the age of 70, it just blew my mind. It just blew my mind because it just speaks to the fact that, our work continues, our purpose continues if we allow it to continue, right? And so that was really, really beautiful. And then after that, we have Elisa Smith talking about healing the heart of the Black woman, which, oh my goodness. But wasn't it phenomenal?
Just very phenomenal.
Yes. And it's a space that she's not in a lot, right? Because she's a certified plant-based nutritionist, and that is her, food is her jam. But at the same time, her lived experience as a Black woman, I knew that she could speak to these areas in a way that not many people could, And after lunch, we have 2 sets of breakouts. We have some networking that happens during the day where we're encouraging women to build relationships, on a personal as well as on a professional level. And then we have a strategy session that we facilitate that helps to turn that inspiration into action and gives them the accountability structure that they need. Because research shows that if we have accountability structures in place, we're 30% more likely to take action. So, it wasn't enough for me to create a sacred space for us without getting us rooted in some action steps that we're going to take back to our lives to make change.
Fantastic. And I really think those gatherings, conferences, seminars that give not only the content, but give the structure, as you say, the structure for how you can take action. That really matters most, I think, because it is really about, well, how do I take this great stuff that I hear and I learn and I'm inspired by it, but how do I use it? How do I make it happen? And oftentimes we as women, we get that inspiration, but we're not, we get inspired and we want to do, but we're confused or uncertain about the next step. And so I feel that, the action, getting a blueprint, doing those kinds of things, really make a difference to actualizing what it is we want to be.
Absolutely.
So Demarra, tell us, just give us the specifics about the conference in case there's anyone who'd be interested in attending in Detroit or in Grand Rapids.
Absolutely. So in Detroit, we're going to be there on May 14 at the Fairlane Club, which is based in Dearborn. And we have a couple different entry points for people, right? Because we wanted to make it accessible and affordable.
Great.
So at $100, we have that full VIP access that gives you access to all the main stage talks, the breakout sessions, the networking, 2 raffle tickets for some amazing giveaways.
Yeah, the raffle, that's what I'm saying. For my raffle ticket, because I didn't pick one up. And I came in and I said, oh, raffle, yeah, it's okay. But your raffle, I mean, the prizes that you have were so I kept looking around. I wanted to get a raffle ticket. Those prizes were great.
We'll make sure that you get one next time. Yeah, that was one thing that I wanted to do, that we were intentional about as well, because we wanted to have our lineup of giveaways that were really high quality, that people would
very high quality.
Yes. So that will be the same level in Detroit. And so that full access gives you access to everything. So it's $100. And then if you want to hear the main stage and just go to the breakout sessions, it's $45. And if you only want to hear the main stage talks, it's $25.
Oh, okay. So there's different levels.
Different levels to make it time accessible and financially accessible for all women. And if you want to purchase tickets, you can go to Black Women About Biz, that's biz.com. And then we're also on Eventbrite. So definitely, and then for your viewers, we'll be offering a 15% off discount. They can just put the code SAVE15 in, and that will be available until March 3rd.
Oh, okay. Until when?
Until March 3rd. That will be available.
May 3rd.
I'm so sorry. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Why am
I was saying, I missed it.
We're back in time. Oh my gosh. Yes.
So May 3rd. Okay. So if anyone was listening to this, they would get this special code. They would go in and save 15%. They put that into the box, and fabulous. And then we'll also be in Grand Rapids in June.
Yes, June 4th is when we're going to be in Grand Rapids. So all the information is the same. We are solidifying our Grand Rapids location right now as we speak. So unfortunately, I don't have that location. But yes, we will be there on June the 4th.
But everybody can follow you at Black Women About Biz, biz.com.
Yep. So that's our website, blackwomenaboutbiz.com. And then our social media for Twitter as well as Instagram is blackwomen_biz. And then we have, as you know, our Facebook page, which is just the Be Well Fab Tour. So short for fabulous. And that gives people real-time information about what they can expect.
Right.
Our giveaways, our vendors, all of that. And we have vendor opportunities available too for people who are interested.
Fantastic. So, Demarra, as we're winding down, tell me if you were, incredibly satisfied, pleased, and happy
Mm-hmm.
by what people said about being a part of Black Women About Biz tour and offerings, what would people be saying that would make you so proud, so happy, so satisfied that you're
Yeah.
doing your thing?
Absolutely. So I guess I'll start with just comments that we've already heard from our Kalamazoo tour staff, right? I mean, things like this was everything.
Mhm.
And all the things that may mean.
Mhm.
How I really needed this. Women saying, "Man, I needed to be in a space like this. I'm looking forward to coming back." We got to figure out how to stay connected. Those are some of the things that I want people to be able to say in the city of Detroit, in Grand Rapids, about our work. I want people to say that they made at least one new connection as a result of our efforts, that they're walking away feeling inspired with tangible tools that they can apply to their lives. And, 6 months down the road, I want to be able to say that their life was better in some shape or form as a result of our efforts. And, because for me, that's really what I'm attempting to create in the world, right? I want to create transformation wherever I can in myself, as well as in the lives of other people. And everything that I've done across my career has been connected to that in some shape or form.
Mhm.
So that's what would feel successful. And, while I'm on the journey striving towards that, it means that I need to be fully present so that I can witness the magic as it's unfolding. I think that when we're birthing something, and it's probably the Virgo in me too, like we can be hypercritical, which is the opposite of practicing wellness, right? I mean, having self-compassion is something that is so critical, because I'm always talking to other people about what it means to have self-compassion. And, sometimes I forget, and I've got to practice it on myself too.
Right.
So I vow that when I'm in Detroit, that I'm going to enjoy every moment. I'm not going to miss anything.
Okay.
And so I'm super excited to be with you, to be with Lisa, to be with all the other women on the lineup, and to be back in a city that feels like my own, even though I'm right here in Kalamazoo. So.
Well, we waiting for you, and we're gonna roll out the red carpet. Demarra Gardner, thank you so much for joining, for sharing. The whole concept of bringing wellness, leadership, and business together. It's so important because I think it comes from a space of as we as Black women developing caring, self-caring, being all we can be in ourselves, and then being able to make the best of leadership and running our business. That we can't get hung up in the making that money and the position and the title. We've got to make sure that we always do well.
Yeah.
That we're always in that space. And so thank you. I'm so glad that you've been a part of this. And for those of you who, again, are so excited like I am to be a part of the tour, to be a part of Black Women About Business, hey, you know where to go. Black Women About Biz, BIZ.com. You can find out all about it. But more importantly, be well yourself. Take care of yourself. Come and join other women who want to figure out how to live a vibrant life. And so, I believe in that vibrant life and living that vibrant life. Also, check out my blueprint, the Vibrant Life Blueprint.com. And in the comfort of your home, you yourself can take those steps to living and finding a vibrant life. Till next time, this is Dr. Geneva. Thanks for being with us. Bye-bye.
Thank you again, Dr.